Hello everyone, welcome. I hope you enjoyed our first video, which was an introduction to colour psychology. In this video, we're going to be talking about the positive and negative associations with specific colours. So, hello Karen.
Hello.
How are you?
Hi, good, thank you.
Glad to have you back on the sofa. And so I find it really interesting reading your book, reading about the positive and negative sort of reactions that people can get to colour. One that kind of stuck with me was green, and how on one side of it, it's all about life and rejuvenation and balance. But on the adverse side, it can seem to be about stagnation and decay. So that really struck with me. It's really interesting because you're totally right. Are there any other colours that have those sort of, the positive and negative associations that you want to call out?
Yeah, so every colour, there is positive and adverse. And when you think about, people might thinking, gosh, that's quite extreme, like decay. But the whole idea of this is that it's like the yin and the yang. So if it is new beginnings and new life, and there's those really bright kind of lime greens, they have quite an energy to it.
Yeah.
And if you then go all the way to the adverse side and you think of those stagnant pond, which has that kind of slimy kind of green, and not to put a colour down at all, but if it's those sort of like sludgy kind of olivey kind of greens, this is where we get to the other side, and that's where stagnation and rot and decay. So not everyone will feel the whole gamut of these, of this. But if we are using colours that are not right for us, or that they're not the right tones of colours, we might start to have these kind of reactions. Or if we have too much of a colour.
Sure.
Because you could have the right tone for you, but having too much and being surrounded by it too much, you could think, oh, actually, this doesn't feel... this doesn't feel right, and why am I now feeling something different? And that's usually it'll be because either the tone of colour or the proportion that you're.
So the scale is too much. Yeah. So some people might find my green floor to ceiling quite overwhelming for them, but for me, it creates a positive reaction. So I guess it is about that personal.
It is, and it's your home, and the wonderful thing is if you can. Experiment in your own home, and you might not know what the right proportion is.
Sure.
But you think, oh, actually, this feels what I need now. And there might be times you go, you know what, it's too much.
Yeah.
Don't just go back to white. It might be that you need to scale the colour and just change the proportions a bit. You think, actually, this feels right now.
Yeah, and actually maybe it's that you take it right back to even your soft furnishings.
Yeah.
So it might be that you just add those as little dotted elements throughout your home.
Yeah. Sometimes, like my favourite colour, a bunch of flowers is all I need.
Right.
I do not need to have water ceiling orange, because then I would be bouncing off the ceilings.
Yeah.
And it'd be way too much for me.
Orange is your favourite colour, is that right?
Yes. Yeah. I've actually got it here in the book. It's this particular orange, which is the calendula marigold.
Right.
So it's no other orange, and this absolutely just fills my heart with joy, and it reminds me to have fun. It reminds me to be very playful.
Yeah.
And I only need just a tiny, tiny bit of it.
Absolutely.
So proportion really, and placement, those things are really, really key.
Yeah, well, I'm a bold lover, so everything, as you've probably seen in my house, is quite large scale, but I find that really excites me, and it makes me feel creative, and it gives me a bit of a passion for life having it on such a large scale. But for other people, they may need to bring that down a bit, you're saying, in terms of scale and proportions.
Yes.
So,
true.
Amazing. So well-being is a hot topic these days. A lot of businesses are now considering it as part of a more healthy working environment. Not sure that they're all there yet, but some of them at least are making steps towards that. But I think it's obviously also essential that we come back to a home that nurtures us and makes us feel happy and calm and relaxed. And I think, for example, when you're doing an interior design project, we'll be looking at including some natural elements, some plants, etc., because we know that they're scientifically proven to reduce stress, reduce blood pressure. But I think people often see colour as a decoration element, when actually it really can play a part of that well-being mix. Would you agree?
Yes.
Yes.
The end. So colour has long been seen as just mere decoration, or something pretty, or something as an afterthought. And yeah, this is one of my little soapbox moments. It is my mission to bring colour more to the consciousness, because when we're conscious about how we use colour, and we're conscious and we understand that it is the first thing we connect to, is the first thing that we have an emotional reaction, an emotional response to. And when we understand that colour can change how we think, how we feel in an instant, I mean, it changes our mood, it changes our behaviour. Yeah. When we understand that, we become far more conscious of our colour choices, far more conscious of what we're using. And then we stop and think, okay, well, how do I want to feel in my home? Do I want, when you said calm, relax, that's one thing, but some people want to come home and they want a sense of drama, or they might want a sense of feeling uplifted, maybe in certain rooms in the morning, or they might want different rooms to fulfill different emotions and to give them different senses. And this is all to do with well-being, because when we feel at home in our own homes, that is what gives us our, it does rejuvenate us. It does fulfill us. It gives us back our sense of well-being and sense of connection. And this sense of coming back home, not just to a physical home, but it's coming home to self. And that actually took 3/4 of the way through writing the book that I went,
that's beautiful.
That is what this book is about. Because oddly, I'm writing the book and I'm thinking, it's not just about colour.
Yeah.
I'm thinking there is more to this. I'm writing a whole book about colour and I know it's more, but what is it? What is it? And then it hit me and I went, it's a book about coming home to self. And that's what colour, when we, and I do get a bit teary.
Go on, let's get emotional, come on.
Yeah, I do get teary, because that, I think, we were chatting this about before, about we're living in such a fast-paced world.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we're now, so many people now, would you believe, are actually shutting down social media. They're doing things slower, the whole slow cooking movement. And I really think that this book is about slow colour. It's about using, if we connect to who we are and not racing and frantic and finding the latest fashion and finding the latest trend and what has everyone else got, if we just stop and slow down, even though I talk a million miles an hour, if we stop and slow down and we connect back to ourselves, if we show up authentically and live the lives that we want, I mean, there's nothing better for our well-being than that.
What a lovely point to end on. That was big. That was some big stuff huge, there, Karen. It was emotional. It was lovely. Well, thank you very much. And we'll pause there for this one. And yeah, hold tight for the next video, guys.